Even if you do edit it, why destroy the original?
Wendy Williams breaks her silence and CNN's Diddy cover-up. The truth is finally coming out. Wendy Williams just got caught up in a police report after a simple dinner. CNN has allegedly tampered with critical evidence in the Diddy case, and then they destroyed it. Trump's DOJ just dropped a lawsuit over a chemical plant poisoning an entire black community. Who's protecting who? Let's break it all down. Roll the tape.
Hurry up.
We just broke a huge story, unbelievable story. Remember the Cassie video? CNN, according to the defense, altered this video before it aired it and has now destroyed the original.
Wait, hold up. CNN got the only copy, edited it, and then poof, it's gone? How does that work? You can't make this up. If this is true, CNN just gave Diddy's lawyers a get out of jail free card. Riddle me this, riddle me that, Batman. How do you accidentally destroy key evidence in a federal case? You don't. Let's jump to our next clip of the legal analyst discussing the alleged tampering.
Like I said, unbelievable, if true, that original copy of that video has been destroyed.
But let's get into what happened. Now, there is a joint letter that was filed today in federal court by both the prosecution and the defense regarding evidence.
So here's what they say about the tape. They say CNN purchased the only known copy of the hotel surveillance footage, uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation.
Okay, that is breathtaking for a couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, obviously, they paid for it and then destroyed it. But between paying for it and destroying it, according to the defense at least, it was altered. They did not air the full version. They said they sped it up, they took things out of sequence.
Again, I cannot fathom a reason that they would destroy the original. It seems to me the better thing to do would just air the entire thing.
Air the raw. So there's more here, according to this letter.
Referring to the editing.
And this is where they explain
it. The defense says the video also includes speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. As a result, the CNN videos do not fairly and accurately depict the events in question.
I think the intimation, Charles, is this. I think that there was a freak-off allegedly going on in their hotel room.
She is trying to leave.
Well, that's what you think from the video. It may be that the dispute they were having that caused Diddy to get violent the way he did not necessarily involve the freak-off, and that there might be more that would explain other things.
Because as it pertains to the federal indictment, that's what really matters.
That's exactly
as horrible and horrific as this beating is, it's not what he's on trial for. That is a state matter. And so that's the violence of the beating.
And the statute of limitations is right. I can tell you what my information is that the Intercontinental Hotel, it was in Century City. They closed that down, and it's a new hotel now. So there's nothing that anybody can go
You're
to.
Not going back to any server.
No, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone. Every lawyer learns this in first-year law school. It's called the best evidence rule, that you are looking for the best evidence, which is the unedited version. If there's an edited version, it's inconceivable to me that a judge would allow that in before a jury, because it doesn't necessarily represent the actual events, even though you could argue, well, it basically does not good enough under the best evidence rule. You have to have the full, unfiltered, unedited version of it.
And so if the judge knows that there is, and by that point, by the time the trial starts, CNN certainly will have to answer to the judge, if to no one else, if not to their audience, why they would have destroyed this. But if the judge knows that there actually is more video that we're not going to see, you're right. I don't know how the judge would allow that.
And again, this video was not being used in the prosecution against him in the sense that it involves any of the charges.
It would only be in relation to if there was a freak-off going on.
And also to show, was there really consent here by Cassie? Was she voluntarily
retaliating against her for
leaving the freak-off?
Yeah. Right. But even if the video doesn't get admitted, Cassie can speak about what happened
Yes,
to her.
absolutely.
If the footage was manipulated, it's not just Diddy on trial anymore. CNN's got a lot of explaining to do. If Diddy's guilty, let the raw footage prove it. Why play games? Trump's DOJ just dropped a major environmental lawsuit. But why? Watch the next excerpt of Louisiana resident Roxanne Keller on the community's cancer crisis.
Well, from day one of his new administration, President Trump has made a big deal about DEI and outlawing it, but I've never heard it applied in this way, and it is really alarming. I think what the Justice Department announced about a lawsuit that it was dropping. It has dropped a lawsuit that had been filed by the Justice Department under President Biden and owned by a company called Denka, because there were an inordinate number of residents living nearby who had gotten different forms of cancer.
By the way, inordinate is a very mild term.
Yes.
It is cataclysmic what has happened to this community.
Right. And there's a school that is just outside the fence of this plant. And because of all the cancer, the Justice Department filed this lawsuit. Well, under the Trump administration, they decided to drop this lawsuit. This is the press release that the Justice Department released saying the dismissal fulfills President Trump's day one executive order ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing, signed to eliminate ideological overreach and restore impartial enforcement of federal laws.
So what's odd about this, when you think about what is the DEI part, this is a black community.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that aligns with the concept of DEI.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious. Either people have cancer or they don't have cancer.
That's right.
And that's it. I don't know where race comes into this.
Well, wait till you hear what's happened to this community. You're going to be stunned. She's lost everybody.
Everyone.
She is the oldest living person from that community in her family. She's lost her whole family.
Just about everybody in the community now is gone. There's only one lady living. I'm not sure how old she is now, but that's the only living person, and she has a really bad case of dementia. And I had to move back in 2015 to take care of my dad, who had prostate cancer and stage 2 stomach cancer when I started taking care of him, along with dementia. And my mom, we realized that she died from breast cancer. My paternal grandparents was peripheral artery disease and dementia and cancer, a skin cancer. My grandfather was type of a farmer. He had a farm in the backyard, and he grew all kind of vegetables and stuff. And he came up with this rare form of skin cancer late in life. It took him. And he eventually passed from it. But I know he would always say about his crops. I don't know why this tree is not producing. The fig tree the figs were like burnt one year. His okra was turning black one year, and another man in the community was saying the same thing. And DuPont Denka was having the near neighbor meetings. Eventually, they stopped that because we all started complaining about these certain things. There was even some black soot or some kind of stuff was on our homes at one time and on our cars at one time. And they came out and looked at it, and that's all that happened with it. They didn't do anything. They just offer us a meal to pacify us at these meetings, but nothing was ever done about it.
They deny that there's a correlation between the cancer
Correct.
And their plant.
But so that lawsuit is filed, but then last week when you heard it was dropped, what was your reaction? How were people feeling about this decision?
Most people are outraged. It's a slap in the face for all the hard work that all the scientists and other people have done. The governor came by and talked about people was going to lose jobs. Okay, people losing jobs against people losing lives, which is more important?
They're saying that the plant has spent $35 million to cut their emissions by 85%.
And that's not true, because we have a report here that was done by a scientist, Ms. Wilma Schumer. I was with her just week before last. And here's a book she compiled. And the findings are close up to February 26, 2025. And they have only once been in compliance. and it's supposed to be 0.02 under the emissions, and they have never, ever done that. Pray for us. That's what we need now.
An entire community is getting cancer and the government says, nah, we're good. They dropped the case in the name of DEI. This isn't about diversity. This is about deadly chemicals. If the plant is still pumping out deadly toxins, who's being protected here? Because it sure isn't the people living there. In our next clip, in Vogue's Dawn Robinson reveals she's homeless.
For the past almost 3 years, I have been living in my car. Ah! I said it. Oh my God, it's out. This is not like, oh my God, poor Dawn. She's living in her car and it's terrible. Oh, what was me? I'm learning about who I am. I'm learning myself as a person, as a woman. And I didn't think if you would have said to me while I was in Vogue, you're going to be living in your car one day, I'd be like, huh? No, I'm always going to have an apartment. I can't live in my car. How can I do that? I won't be able to live in my car. We say that we can't do certain things before we even know we're capable.
This woman has one of the most iconic voices of the 1990s, and she's sleeping in a car. How did we let this happen? She's staying positive, but let's be real. The music industry milks artists dry and then leaves them to fend for themselves. And it's sick, man. Dawn's not even begging for help. She's just surviving. But this should not be our norm. Let's jump to our next clip of Wendy Williams and her niece outside of her assisted living facility.
We told you that Wendy had gone to a New York hospital to get a competency test, and she was there for 3 days. She went back to this facility she's been at late in the afternoon yesterday with her niece, Alex Finney. And Alex decided we should go out and celebrate.
Sure, because she had done so well on the competency test. They feel like
aced it.
And they feel like this is, you know, a big step toward her getting out of this guardianship. So they go out to dinner, and as soon as they sit down, during dinner, they get a phone call from Wendy's attorneys saying that the facility is actually filing a police report against Alex because she had taken, in their eyes, taken Wendy without authorization. Out
of the building.
Out of the building without authorization, and so therefore it was essentially kidnapping.
So we told you that Wendy is locked on the 5th floor memory unit of this facility, and she can only go down if an attendant pushes the elevator button. There are several things that are unbelievable about this. The first of which is 2 nights ago, we got a letter from the lawyer for the Guardian saying, all of these stories about Wendy being restrictive, they're just not true because Wendy can come and go as she pleases, and they've never tried to keep her away from her family. Well, that's kind of interesting because Alex Finney says they called the cops on me.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Number two, Alex Finney says it is all BS that they left with the full cooperation of the facility.
So Wendy can come and go as she pleases. But when she does, the police get called? Make that one make sense. First, they say she's not under lockdown. Then they panic when she leaves. Which is it? They don't want Wendy out of their control. And the fact that they walked back the police call afterward is just damage control.
So our recent events have been unbelievable. Police were called, but I was told that at some point police were called because the coterie here was saying allegedly that I took my aunt from this facility and whisked her away without any sort of confirmation or approval, which according to everything that we have learned in terms of this whole situation, wondering exactly how that correlates with the statements that the Guardian has made that Wendy is able to come and go as she pleases,
right,
and that there are no family visits that are blocked.
Clearly, they are lying to me when they say I can go out and do what I want to do. I just came from the hospital, so we are going out to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate what? I don't know. I'm from the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And of life. Right. And this is what has been done to us.
Let's jump to our next clip of Jay-Z and his accuser. The plot thickens. There's audio of the accuser allegedly clearing Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, you're saying he was definitely there? But he had no part in it, or he was just...
He was there. He was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you. It was strictly.
Yeah, he was the one who kind of pushed me towards going forward with him.
With Jay-Z. Busby did?
Yeah.
Wait, so now she's saying she never said that, but we actually heard it on tape.
She says, I cannot testify as to what Mr. Butler or Ms. Henderson,
Those are the private investigators.
what they actually observed, but I was not in any way calm, natural, or at ease. Rather, I trembled the entire time we spoke. I never stated, whether once or 4 times, as the investigators claimed, that Mr. Carter did not assault me. It's a double negative there, but she's saying, I did not say those words. So
I'd love to hear the full tape, right?
Right.
That's what you kind of want to hear, is the full tape.
This case is turning into a legal chess match, and it's getting ugly. Somebody is obviously lying, and when the full tape comes out, we'll figure out who. The bottom line in all of this is the truth is getting buried. CNN just jumped in the hot seat, baby, because if y'all actually tampered with federal evidence, this case is now way bigger than just Diddy. Wendy Williams deserves her freedom, not to be locked away like a prisoner. And these lawsuits disappearing left and right. The rich and powerful are pulling some strings, baby, like the puppet on the strings. But these stories, they aren't over. They're just onion layers being pulled apart. If you're still here, smash that like button, subscribe, and tap that notifications bell like the cashier gave you the wrong change and ran to the back. This is just the beginning. Thank you. God bless.
Listen.